everyone, welcome back to my craft room. If you're new to my craft room, then welcome. Today I'm going to do something with these signs here. I told you guys when I got these signs at Dollar Tree that I wanted to do something to kind of, just step them up a little bit. So we're actually going to frame these with some things that you probably would never think of framing stuff with. Because I really didn't until I had this idea, and I'll show you in a minute when we get over to the desk. But anyway, I think it's just going to make these look more finished, and instead of just like a cardboard sign hanging on your wall or wherever you put them, and it'll make them look a little more farmy, a little rustic, little farmhouse, whatever. But however you want to paint them, it all depends on how you want to paint the frames, whatever color you want to do, so it could be different for everybody. So I'm going to show you that there in a second, and next week I have some really fun DIYs I can't wait to get started on that I want to do that's going to go out on my front porch, along with my rake up there that I did quite a while ago when I found those rakes, and it's been hanging here ever since, and that's going outside on my front porch after Labor Day. And I got a couple other things in mind that I want to put out there with them. So I'm going to flip you over to my craft table and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so to frame this one, first you're going to want to take your little hanger off to make it easier to work with here. Actually, on this sign, I think I'm putting the hanger in the back. I'm not going to put it back through these holes at all. So, just sit them back there. I already took it out of the other one. Now for this frame, for this picture here, or sign, whatever you want to call this thing, this is an 11-inch square. So this thought would work great with the Dollar Tree rulers. But the other sign was way too long, so that's why we're going to do something really different with those. So for this sign, you're going to need 4 rulers. These come in a 2-pack at Dollar Tree. And then you're just going to take the ruler part off. They come off real simple, like so. And I just love the pattern in the wood after you take it off. I think they look really cool. So for these, you're going to need to cut one an 11-inch, or 2 of them. You need 11 inches. I already had my husband cut these off for me. So I have 2 of these here that are cut at 11 inches, and then these other 2 he cut at 9 3/4 inches. And these are going to fit. No, I'm going to do this wrong again. I think I want the long ones on this side, yes, because I don't want to block any of those words. And they're actually just going to go just on the edge here to cover up all that wood color underneath. So this is how that will look when it's done. Now if you're real fancy, I mean, you can do the 45-degree angles if you have, the saw and stuff to do that, but I'm just going to fit these in here just in a little square. But first we're going to paint these up and make them look real nice. And then for the other one, this is the tricky one. You could use dowels for the same thing that I'm doing here, but I had purchased these 2 packs of these big bamboo skewers from Dollar Tree a while ago, and these things are really, really long. I mean, really, really long. And I don't know why, these might be like maybe about a 1/4 inch. But you could, like I said, you could use dowels if you don't have these, or if you can't find these at Dollar Tree. It would work pretty much the same way. They have the packs of the smaller dowels a lot of times at Dollar Tree. But we're going to use these bamboo skewers. I thought that would just be something completely different and out of the ordinary, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So what you're going to need to do is cut. We're going to use 4 for each side of the frame, and these are all going to get glued together. And once they're glued together, they look like this. And then we're going to paint them to make a really cool frame for this sign. So I'll show you how I do this. I cut out 8 for each side. So you're going to need 8 cut it if you're using this sign. Like I said, you can do this to any sign. So you're just going to have to measure for whatever you're doing. But this one, I cut 8 of them at 14.5 inches and 8 of them at 8 3/4 inches. I will try to remember to put all this stuff under the video because I'm sure I won't even remember. But anyway, I'm going to do some of these smaller ones here, and I'll show you how easy these are to cut. You don't need a saw, you don't need anything. You could probably do this with an old pair of scissors even, but I'm just using my wire cutters, and believe me, I have a really bad wrist, so this is very simple to do. I just marked it out at the 8 3/4 inch, and just give it a little squeeze, and then another little squeeze, and there you go. That's all it takes to cut these. It's like nothing. And believe me when I tell you, my wrist is awful. So That is really easy to do. Okay, let me set this aside and I'll show you how I put those together to make the frame. So I have my 4 here, and I'm going to use my little glass mat because this is that little glass cutting mat from Dollar Tree. I love this thing. It's a mess right now because I have glue all over, but the cool thing about these is when you're done you can just take one of those straight edge razors and scrape it right off of there, or you could soak it off. But I'm going to use a little bit of painter's tape, and we're just going to tape these together here, one end, just to hold them together for me. And I'm going to try it again. I don't even care if these are perfectly even. I'm not going for perfection with these frames, but you're just going to put a piece of tape around there to hold those together. And I always like to put a little loop on the back of my tape there so I can get it off easier. Alright, so there, you have them together. And now the rest of this, we're going to take some of the Dollar Tree Super Glue Wood Glue. This is they usually have back where they have all the hardware stuff. And then you're just going to need like a small brush. Let's see, let me see. I don't want a teeny brush. Oh, this will work. And I just put some of this glue right here on my glass mat to work with. And then I'm going to get myself a piece of tape ready because we're going to use that as a clamp. So all you're going to do is just take these apart just a little bit with your fingers. Just put some glue on the insides of these skewers. Doesn't matter if you get it all over them. Because we're not staining them, we're painting them, so it won't matter. It'll paint right over the glue. Because it's much easier to do these if you don't have to be super, super careful. Alright, so now they look pretty even. So we are going to take a piece of tape up here. Put it across there, and this we're going to use as our clamp. And you're just going to wrap that around there nice and tight. And like I said, when you get to the end there, you want to fold that over so you have something to lift it up easy with. Alright, so then you can take your other piece off the other end there. Now that you have that gluing together, I mean, this sounds complicated. It really, really is not. It's really easy. It really took me no time. I already have them all done, glued together. I'm just doing this one to show you guys how it's done. And I did all, 4 sides exactly the same way. That's why I figured I'll just show you on one here. And then you're going to want to get your wood glue in here. This wood glue is wonderful too from Dollar Tree. I've used this on a lot of things and it holds like crazy. Alright, so now we need another piece of tape. And make sure I got my ends fairly even. Just set that on there. And we're just going to tighten that up like a little clamp. And there you go. And then I'm going to put another piece in the middle just so I make sure that they're all nice and snug and flat. And then you just set them aside. I did the ones I did last night actually, and I just let them sit overnight. This stuff dries really like in a couple of hours. It takes like no time at all. But just make sure after you get all your tape on and stuff that they're nice and flat. It's really easy. And that's it. And there is one side of the frame. So that's just how easy that is to put them together. So I already got these other ones together, and now the tape does not stick to this wood glue, which is cool. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work, but they do come right off, well, except when you put the tape on top of each other. Comes off nice and clean. And that's it. So actually these 2 I did this morning. The other 2 that I painted up a couple already just to get a head start. I painted up last night. Now for this frame, I'm going to paint, I'm not sure what color I want this frame yet. I may use that chocolate brown paint that I have. I have to go find where I put it. But, oh, it's right here. Is this it? No, this is the real brown. I kind of like this color. The rulers I'm going to do more like a stain look on them. But for these, we're just going to paint these up. And I'm using some of this truffle-colored Waverly chalk paint. And then to put a little weathered accent to it, I'm just going to use some of this, it's called Timeless Gray. And this is just satin acrylic. Whatever colors you want to use, it really doesn't make any difference. But let's see, I'll show you how easy these little guys are to paint up. And I gotta get these two painted here, and while that's drying, we can work on those other ones there. But, you know, you just go down in the... I didn't even do all the way around the back, I just did the sides, because, you know, it's going to be hanging on a wall. You could, of course, absolutely, especially if you want to give it to somebody, to finish up the back side, too. And get your ends done, and just go down there with your brush. And I just did one coat of this paint, too. I thought that was all I would need on this. This bamboo paints up really nice. Just want to make sure I get all in those cracks. And I wouldn't advise painting them first because I don't know how well the wood glue would hold to this chalk paint. Alright, I'm going to let that dry there so I don't completely paint my finger, and then I'll finish that little end off. I'm going to grab the other one here really quick. Like I said, these take no time at all to paint up and do. I just thought it would be something different. I like doing something different, something unexpected here. I think it's going to look really cool. And like I said, if you want to put the angles on it after it's, you know, all glued together, you could, you know, if you have the saw to cut a 45-degree angle on it, that would be great too. But we're not going to do that for this one, because I know not everybody has access to that kind of thing. And plus, I made my husband cut enough stuff this week. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry there and get some of this out of my hands here. And then I'll finish up those other two little ends. I might be able to do that while it's sitting here on the... Sorry, I know you guys can't see, but I'm just finishing up that one little end there while it's hanging off the edge of the table. Alright. There we go. That one's all painted up. Okay. Now for these, I think I'm just going to go ahead and paint these with this real brown. And I may just kind of paint on lightly and then kind of rub some of that off too. Out of the way, my cutter's out of the way. Alright, for this one I can just use a big brush. I like this real brown color. Especially when if you want to add some water to this and do it like a stain, you could do that too. But I'm thinking I'm just going to paint on a thin coat. And, oh yeah, I think that'll look nice. And this is just the apple barrel. Outdoor, indoor, real brown, it's called. And you can get that anywhere. I think actually I got that one. I'm not sure, maybe Walmart. Just want to get the sides and in your little creases of your ruler. And I think I just kind of want to rub that off. I should have put a pad down, because see now I've already messed up my nice clean pad that I have here. Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's going to look cool. I like that. And I don't think I'm going to do anything else to these. I'm not going to like distress this one or anything. I'm just going to leave that looking like the stained wood. But I'm just going to finish this one up, and I'll paint the rest of those off camera, because it's just going to be the same thing over and over again here. Yep, that's that, and then I think I'm just going to wipe that off. See, I could have just held it up in the air instead of messing up my whole table. And then that'll dry really quick so we can finish them up. But yeah, I like that color a lot, and I think it'll look good on that sign. So we're just going to leave it at that. So let me finish painting up. Oops, those aren't it. These three that I got to paint up yet. And then we'll come back and add some of the highlights on the other one. I'll show you what I don't know, did I already show you these? These are the longer sides that I just added some of that gray to. I thought that would look pretty cool. So we'll do that when I come back here after I get these all painted up. Okay, I got those all painted up. They're sitting back there drying. These are pretty well dry now. Like I said, I didn't do the backs. You could do the backs if you want to. And I needed a smaller brush, so I'm using one of these stencil brushes. I just cut off with a pair of scissors half of these bristles because I just wanted a smaller brush. Didn't have anything quite the right size. So I made one. So I'm going to take some of this Timeless Gray, this is Apple Barrel 2. I'm going to get a little paint on here, and then I am going to wipe most of it off on a paper towel. And then I am just going to, and it's still like a little too much, just kind of dash a little bit of this gray in here. And I think that's about it for this one. I think. Let's see if that looks good. Now, it might need a little bit more compared to the ones that I did before. But yeah, the brown was just kind of a little too dark, so I figured maybe if I just add a little bit of gray highlight to these. There we go. I think that'll match. Yeah, that looks much better. But that's it. I'll just put some more paint on there, swirl most of that off, get the hair out of it, and then just kind of dash it on there. So I know I need to go a little bit heavier here. Some of it gets a little too dark, well, just rub it right off. This is why my hands are always disgusting. I always use my hands for everything, painting, gluing, whatever. Because, you know, they're washable. So when I get done, I will wash them off, and there you go. I think that's good. That looks good with the rest of these. Alright, so as soon as all this gets dry, we are going to put these babies on and see how they turn out. Alright, these are dry now. We can start putting these together. Get these over here. So I'm going to take one of the longer rulers, and the goal here is just to cover up that outer border on this one. And it's also going to cover up those holes. That's why I said I'm just going to put a new hook on the back. But I'm just going to use hot glue all the way down here, and whoops, there it comes. New glue gun. I got to get used to this one. It's so much different than my other one was. Alright, so we are going to get this on here, hopefully right the first time. There we go. Match that up with the sign. Alright, and there you go. There is our first piece. You want to put the long ones on if you use this sign on these sides here, because if you do it this way, when you go to put this piece in, it's going to pretty much it just doesn't look right. It'll cover up some of the words, and, you know, especially over here, it doesn't look right. So that's why I'm doing the long ones on that side, and then we're going to fit this one right in here. So this one's going to go down a little bit lower, but we're going to make it even with this top part. I don't want to put too much glue over there. Oops, my glue is dripping. Alright, so we're just going to kind of start right here. And it won't take much to hold these on here. These things are very lightweight, these little rulers. So, alright, there we go. That looks pretty good. So there we are so far. And I'm going to put our other straight one here. Hopefully this is going to match up nicely. I think it will. Alright, so now we're going to put this other small one, oops, down here on the bottom. Let me grab another glue stick in case I start to run out halfway here. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this glue gun. It's just different. I got to get used to it. My other one finally kicked the bucket. I use these things so much that, you know, they just don't last forever. That's all I can say. Alright, do I have that one down far enough? I hope. Alright. And there's that side of it, and now we just need to put this one, make sure. Yep, that's going to work out just fine. See, now this one here is going to hang over the edges, your long ones on the back, and the other ones you don't see, but it kind of just makes it nice and square again this way. Alright, so let's run some hot glue up here. No, don't run out on me now. Ugh. Alright, and just get this baby on here quick. And there we go. There is our frame for this one, and I think that looks awesome. I love it. I'm not doing anything else to this. I'm not going to distress this. I mean, you could add some decorations to this if you wanted to. I am just going to leave this just framed to go up like behind some of my fall decor, and I think that's going to look great. So the only thing I need to do now is to glue my hook back on, and I don't want that to be seen from the top. That is the one from the other one. So I'm just going to rip off my little tag here. So I'm going to kind of glue it down here, so then when it hangs, you won't see it from the top of it. But you'll have enough room, you know, to wiggle it and jiggle it to make sure it hangs straight too. So I want to keep that kind of low down here. Alright, and I'm going to use one of my little skewers here to glue this down, or to hold this down rather. So I'm going to put a big glop of glue there. Oh, that actually laid down nicely. And then a big glop of glue over here. Alright, let me make sure. Alright, that should not show from the top. So we're just going to stick that down and all this glue here, put some up over top of it. And like I said, they're not very heavy, so I'm hoping that's going to be low enough. Let me move that down just a tad. There we go. There. So I'm going to set that aside, and that can cool off while we're working on our other frame here. And then we can hang these up. I can't wait to hang these up and see how they look. But like I said, I don't even know if I'm going to hang this one. I'm putting put the hanger back on it, but I think I just want this one to stand on the shelf. But I have the option now, whichever I decide to do with that thing. Alright, now for this guy here, I had to take an X-Acto knife here and cut a piece of this end of this like banner that they have in the middle, because it's not on here even, it was really close to the edge. So I did have to take this and kind of slice that out of there. It wasn't that big of a deal, it came out pretty well. So for this one, I believe we're going this way. And again, we're just going to kind of, this one's a little bit harder to see because, you know, it's kind of painted on there funky. And this wood is also a little bit warped, so hopefully. But I just want this like just on the edge here, like so. So I kind of want to measure that first. And hoping, that might be down too far too. I don't want to cover up these holes because I am putting the hanger back on this one. So I should have marked this, is what I should have done. And then this one I want to go right on the edge there, so that'll be perfect right there. So let me just hold this up and put my glue down here. Hopefully I don't move it. And then we're going to lay that right back down. Yeah, I moved it. Alright, hopefully I didn't move it too much. Nope, I think that'll be good. Yep, that looks good. I can still get through both those holes there, I hope. Alright. Well, it's going to have to stay now. Oh, I got to get that off there, but I got to wait till it cools down. Yeah, so then this one will go right on the very edge, just right on the edge of this sign here, which is on kind of an angle, so it's kind of wonky to do. I think we will get this alright. Alright, so now we're just going to go down here. Hopefully that's going to work out good. Like I said, it's on an angle and it wants to give me a hard time. But there we go, just on the edge of that one. I really like this. I like this frame. I think I like this frame more than I like the other frame. Alright, and now our other one is going to go right down here. And this one's going to be a little bit off. Oh no, that'll be fine. So more or less I'm just gluing this first bamboo piece down on here to make it nice and even. Yep, that's pretty much it. Alright, now let me make sure that this is going to fit down here correctly. Oh, it is. Yay! I like when things work out correctly. Alright, so now we're just going to run some hot glue down here. baby on. There we go. I think that should be about right there. Please be right there. Not quite in far enough at the bottom. Don't cool yet. Am I in the right spot now? Yes, we are. Well, that one doesn't quite cover that whole piece, but I think that will be fine. Yeah, I'm going to have to put more glue in here because I moved that before it was cool, or while it was already almost cooled down. But this one's a little more tricky. We'll get it. And I think that'll be good right there. Is that it? Yes. Alright. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on. That way I can just fit this one back in there and know where it's supposed to go. So, whoops. Nothing ever goes together simple. Oh my. Alright, so I'm going to go kind of quick on this. Get this baby on here. That's where I want it to be. Alright, I think that's good. So now, got that all on there. I want to put my little hanger back on. And this I'm actually going to put in through the back this time instead of the front. So these little clear tabs will be in the front. I'm hoping that'll work out right. Because you're really not going to see those too much. There we go. Oh, that's not bad at all. Alright, so let's put our other little tab back through the hole. That one I got almost too close there. There we go. Just open your little tab back up, and there you go. You really don't even see those at all. So that is that one. So all I gotta do now here, guys, I'm gonna hang these up, and you guys can see what you think. If this is a good idea, bad idea. I thought it was pretty cool for more of like a rustic looking outdoor frame that you'd see like maybe at a farm or something or whatever to get your hot apple cider for your pumpkin ride. But but anyway, okay. I'm just going to hang these up now so you guys can see what they look like. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little project, and I will see you all next time. Have a great day, everyone.